We're doing some fall pruning on one of our Black Hills spruce, and what that sort of entails is going back in and looking at the pieces of growth that have buds and those that don't have buds. And if it doesn't have a bud, that means that that is actually not going to actually continue to grow. We want to remove it to allow the pieces of growth that have a bud actually to get more sunlight and then set us up for wiring. So what that looks like essentially is going through and looking at each little stem here, and if it has a bud or doesn't. This one doesn't have a bud, and you can see there's really nothing at the tip here. It was pinched several years ago, and the whole point of that is for spruce, we pinch the new growth in the springtime. It stops this growth and actually will cause this tip to stop growing and stimulating further budding back into the interior. And then once those buds are set up and start growing the following year that we have here, this finer growth, then we can come back in and eliminate that thicker piece of growth in favor of smaller, tighter, more compact shoots. So you're sort of taking like, one step forward in a way, but also taking one step back. The idea being, though, that you're going to set yourself up for sort of better results in the future. And so what it looks like is just continuing to go through, looking at each tip of the shoots here and removing those if there's no bud on it. A bud is going to look like this kind of caramel colored little dot on the tip here. Let me see if I can find one that hasn't been a little bit more visible. So that one right there where the tip of my scissors is, you can see is kind of this plump brownish bud. And so compared to something like that doesn't have a bud on it, it was pinched a while ago, we're going to come in then and just continue to eliminate everything that doesn't have a bud and revealing and leaving what does, so that we can sort of continue to keep the tree compact. The growth habit is this sort of whirling nature to it, and so even for all these buds we have, we'll need to come back through and further refine and eliminate growth that might have a bud but is also getting a little too congested, things that are in favor of more lateral growth versus something that's growing straight up. And then the last thing that we're looking to do is to sort of clean off all of these older needles that have been that are still sort of on the branches back here, and again to allow a little bit more air and sunlight to penetrate into that, as well as set us up for wiring. We'll be able to wire these branches a little bit better by removing the needles off of them. So this is a really good example of kind of what we're looking to do. So we had this long shoot come out 2 years ago in the center here, and it was pinched. And what that did is it stopped its growth and stimulated 2 buds at the base of it, which then this year activated, and we've had these 2 smaller pieces of growth come out. So we went from one original shoot, pinched it, buds, and now we have 2 pieces of growth that we're going to now take this center one out, and now we sort of have this sort of ramification occurring. And so this is sort of the process for spruce. You do lose that length that you sort of got 2 years, and it is a multi-year process to get to this point. But as you continue to sort of pinch and refine to your silhouette, you're going to constantly be sort of generating smaller interior pieces of growth in favor of the sort of coarser, longer ones, which is kind of how you're going to maintain the overall form and shape of the tree over time.